you may know, I am Tyrus, but what you may not know is that I've struggled with my racial identity my whole life. Ever since I was young, my mother would tell me how to live as a black boy in today's society. She'd tell me I'd always have to work harder than my white friends. She'd tell me how to act when approached by police, how to deal with racism, and how to take care of my beautiful black skin. She taught me how to be comfortable with being black. On the other hand, my father, a white man, grew up surrounded by black people. He was one of the only white people in his elementary school, and he had mainly black friends in high school. So it's not like this is a complete division, but there is a division nonetheless. My dad taught and currently is teaching me how to grow up to be a successful man. However, there will always be that part of being black in me that my mother can connect to and my father will never be able to. My mother received backlash from her side of the family when marrying and having a son to a white man. They would say things like, he could never understand the world we live in, or how is he supposed to raise a black child? And to a certain extent, that is true. My white father would never know how it feels to walk into a restaurant full of white people and feel excluded, or pick up on the subtle racist innuendos that people make to my mother and me. But for the sake of a better environment, I had to move in with my dad around the age of 4, and he became my primary provider for most of my life. My mom wasn't out of the picture though. I would see her quite frequently actually, and she still gave me my fair share of life lessons. However, living with my dad, I started becoming the term many people know as whitewashed. Whitewashed references when any race of a person, but predominantly black, has a lot of white tendencies and white friends. When I learned this term, the line of division between these two sides of myself I mentioned earlier started becoming more distinct. I started trying to fit the narrative of white when I was around white people and black when I was around black people because of how insecure I was racially. It created a version of myself where I constantly considered pleasing both sides. For example, my mom says to comb your hair every day. My dad claims it just doesn't matter that much. Or my dad tells me to wear sunblock at the beach, but my mom insists that black people don't get sunburned. These types of situations happen consistently throughout my life, and they still do. Constantly having the negatives about my personality made eminent by people who could never understand, always being told that I won't fit in anywhere. The only thing that changed was how I reacted to them. At Christmas time one year, I had 2 parties, one for my dad's side and the other for my mom's. Now, as you can imagine, these parties were very different. One was full of questions about my future and lots of casseroles, and the other was full of card and board games while gambling for nickels, of course. I'm sure you can guess which one was which. This seemingly humorous comparison was actually an epiphany for me, and I realized that I couldn't change my situation nor control which side to be on. I couldn't keep trying to fit the narratives of how black people act and how white people act. I mean, how a race can even own certain personality traits or only speak a certain way is still outrageous to me, but playing into that idea just wasn't the true, authentic me. I eventually dealt with this conflict, which took a very long time, was by looking at the yin and yang. For those who don't know, the yin yang is a Chinese symbol made with a philosophy of opposites. It's a black and white circle with 2 dots inside of each contrasting color. Now, many people see the yin and yang as just black and white and how they're simply divided. However, if you look deeper at this picture and dive into its symbolism, the 2 sides are in the motion of mixing. Yin is only at its strongest when it contains yang, and vice versa. I learned about this balance and how the yin and yang complemented each other and how they were, in essence, more similar than different. With this in mind, I became conscious of my identity as a biracial individual, not black, not white, but both. I came to terms with the idea that no matter how someone views my actions or my words, if they have a problem with it, it is within them. I am a positive, not a negative, and I represent the 3.2% of multiracial people in the United States. I am a bridge between these two sides. I'm an advantage, not a setback. I provide exposure of broken narratives to these two sides, and I can understand these two sides, and just like the yin and yang, I am the perfect balance of them at their strongest because I contain both. My dad never fails to tell me this pearl of wisdom, as he calls them. Eat the meat and throw away the bone. Sift through information you receive, absorb what is useful, then discard what isn't. If you've had a similar experience to mine, I hope you can see your value and your unique worth. If you haven't had a relatable experience, it's okay. And I encourage you to eat the meat and throw away the bone. Explore how you can take your insecurities and turn them into advantages. Because in your perceived flaws, there is still beauty, stability, and uniqueness.